Troy, what is the difference between a scruple and a doctrine?
Oh, wow. What a question.
That's the question that we have here before us today. And so let's first define our terms. What is a scruple?
Well, essentially, a scruple is an opinion. It's how someone interprets a rule or a law. And especially when you're looking at the Bible, it's how someone may come to a decision of what it is that they're going to do to apply that in their lives.
Right. So a doubt or a hesitation in regards to morality about a certain course of action that you want to take, which is basically, as you said, opinionated, right? And so sometimes people try to take those things which are conscientious against with their own selves and bind them upon other people, right?
And there's the key word when it comes to scruples is binding. That's what Jesus dealt with the Pharisees.
Right. And so that's what a scruple is. And doctrine is the instruction. It's a teaching. And so in other words, it could be a commandment as well. That of which only God is able to lay down, right?
That's right.
And so when we think about that in relation to the Bible, what comes to mind is Romans 14.
Amen. That's right.
Romans 14, as Paul writes about meat being offered to idols and individuals who are confused as to whether they should partake in meat. Is it okay? Or should we not partake in meat? What is right? What is wrong? And Paul basically says, to each his own. To each his own. If you want to partake in meat, it's fine. Because one who eats meat knows that meat that's offered to idols, there is no idols.
Yeah.
There's only one God.
And he even equates that to a stronger brother and a weaker brother, which indicates
100%.
that there is that one who understands the doctrine, has worked through some of these things, and the weaker brother who is kind of basing some of it on their opinions. And their opinion is not necessarily wrong.
Right.
It's just it's not based fully in understanding of the doctrine.
100%. And so he also says that this is a matter of faith.
Yeah.
This is a matter of faith.
That's right.
And so one who believes that they shouldn't be partaking in this, you have to stick to that.
That's right.
Don't go against your own conscience, because then you defile your conscience. Then it becomes sin to you who does such a thing. And when you get to chapter 15, verse number 1, he lets us know that we ought to bear the infirmities of the weaker brother in that situation. So we ought to try to do right one towards another, and not causing each other to stumble if we can. But one cannot bind such opinionated things upon another individual.
Exactly. And that's the problem that we see with scruples versus doctrine, is that it causes a lot of division. And what happens a lot of times is if you wind up always leaning towards or deferring to the weaker brother who typically doesn't have a great theology, you're essentially making them leaders of the congregation.
Right.
And they have no right, or they may not even be qualified to be leaders of the congregation, like elders and like shepherds. The key, and there's no end to these issues, because as we know, there's all kinds of ways of looking at this. People think what's right and wrong. The key to this is teaching grace and mercy to each other, not leaning towards the most liberal or the most legalistic, but instead bringing it all to Christ.
Right. Always directed towards him, always looking to him. And so that's the summation of our question today is scruples versus doctrine. Scruples are things that are opinions, own conscientious things, hang-ups, if you will. And then the doctrine is a teaching. It's the commandments of the Lord. And those things are the things that are bound upon us all. Those are bound upon us all. And our scruples, we cannot bind upon one another, but we can bind them upon ourselves.
Amen.
Amen.